In today's instructional video, I'm really excited to show you how to take a very complex, difficult chord, for example, a dominant 13 flat 9, and make it into a simple chord to process or to visualize. Okay, this is exciting stuff. It's what I call poly chords. Others may call it upper structure triads. I like to call it poly chords. So let's say we're doing a tune Misty, and starting off in the key of C major. Let's say we did a G7 and moving to C major, right? Everyone plays some kind of G7. But let's say we wanted to make it complex, like a G13, right? 13, and maybe the flat 9, right? Add our melody on top. It would look something like this. Okay. So for a lot of students, to find the 13th, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, and the flat 9, might take a little while to compute that. So what we can do is to simplify it, we can just think in the left hand we're going to play G7, basically, and the right hand is going to play a major triad built on the 6th scale degree of a G scale. So here's the G scale. So the 6th scale degree is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So if I play an E major chord over a G7, it's going to give me, I'll play it here. Here's my E major, right, over my G7. That's going to give me the 13, the flat 9, and the melody, right? So I don't necessarily have to find the 13. I don't necessarily have to think where's the flat 9. I can just play an E major triad, right? I'm just doubling the melody there. An E major triad, right, over a G7. Okay, so that's what I call a major 6 chord over a dominant left hand. Okay, so let's apply that in Misty. So the first chord is G7. We're going to think an E major chord, because that's the 6th of the G scale. And we're going to make it major. So it's E major triad. We're going to invert that to accommodate our melody on top. We can't really reach E major root position and the melody. So we invert the major 6 chord, the E major, and make it work underneath our melody. So it would be something like this. So that's a G7, 13, or G13 flat 9. But all I had to think about was, hey, what's the 6th, what's the major triad built on 6? E major. Now, if we continue in that vein, here's C7. Well, here's my 13, there's my flat 9, and there's my 3rd. But all I have to think really is the 6th note of the C scale, or the C chord, A major, add my melody, and do my dominant in my left hand. That's a beautiful, complex chord. And again, you're getting a dominant 13 with a flat 9. And all you had to think about was putting an A major, in this case, root position, over a C7. So here's how it'll sound. E major over G7. Lots of color. Right? Etc. So that's a really, really big breakthrough in terms of grabbing lots of color, and all you have to think about is putting a major triad built on the 6th scale degree of the chord you're playing. Let's see if that works in Nearness of You. This chord is F7. All right. Well, the 6th of F scale is a D, so I'm going to play a D major in the right hand and an F7 in the left. Listen to how beautiful that sounds. Here's my 6, or D major over F7. That is very pretty, right? And I didn't have to think, where's the 13? Where's the flat 9? Just know my scale. The 6 is D, play a D major over F7. All right. So that's a very, very expeditious way of grabbing lots of color. I call it a major 6 triad, major 6 over a dominant left hand. So anytime I see a dominant, I can actually try this concept. And again, everything does really revert back to your scales. If you can see the F scale, you realize D is the 6th. If you can see the G scale, you realize E is the 6th. So it's 6 over G7, major 6 over G7. Okay? Those are what I call poly chords. Other teachers, I've heard them identify them as upper structure triads. Just think major 6 over a dominant left hand, and that's going to give you tons of wonderful color. And you can even notate it that way in the music. You could notate it E, like a fraction, E over G7. This would be written a fraction, A over C7. Okay, so one of the huge benefits of this is you get lots of color without having to find the 13th, the sharp 11, the flat 9, what have you. But also, in terms of arranging, anytime you see a dominant chord in any song, you can try to add the major 6 triad in the right hand for lots of color. So you actually become a wonderful arranger, and it's relatively easy to grab those colors. Okay, I'd like to invite you to visit my newest website, blindpianolessons.com. I'm teaching lots of blind students all around the world with my new method. I'll call it the Mark Miller Braille method, but also, more importantly, circle of fifths, minimal chord movement, and patterns, chord patterns. That's the way most professionals play, and it's really the best way to teach blind students. It's much better than the Braille music notation system. It's not totally by ear. There's about 33% of why I teach blind students by ear blind students is by ear, and the other 2/3 is by patterns. Circle of fifths, drop the pinky technique, all 1, 6, 2, 5 patterns. Right, music is very patterned. Also, I'd invite you to go to my newly revised, updated website, PianoWeb, one word, pianoweb.com. I put a lot of wonderful learning resources up there, videos, podcasts, lead sheets, etc. pianoweb.com. Have fun and practice hard.